Hello, everybody. We grant 1 more minute for latecomers to join before we start. Thank you for your understanding, and happy for you to be with us today for this very interesting webinar that we're about to launch. Thank you. So, sorry, my name is Bokar Alfaba. Bonjour, dear all. Assalamu alaikum. I am the country manager of Invest in Africa in Mauritania, and I'm most pleased and honored to welcome you to this multilingual awareness webinar, jointly delivered with Invest in Africa Senegal, Ibafal and team, and facilitated today by Charlotte Aziedou. Charlotte, she's a great consultant, associate of the Sustainability Collaborative affiliated to TNS Sweden. Charlotte's expertise is in the areas of sustainability, entrepreneurship, environmental risk, and impact assessment. The today's session will be on ESG, a key and profitable asset, part of our sustainability advantages and assets series of conference. Today, we are sitting right at the center of the climate warming, climate change, and climate opportunities for local potentialities. Now, more than ever, with the UN Climate Change Conference currently happening in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, the world is shifting towards implementation of previously agreed plan to tackle humanity's greatest challenge, which is global warming and global change. No one can be a mere passenger on this journey. This is a signal that times have changed. This is a quote from Simon Steele, the new Executive Secretary of the UN Climate Convention. On the other hand, Bernard Looney, head of BP, is talking about energy trilemma: secure energy, affordable energy, and low carbon energy. BP is doing this by providing the oil and gas the world needs today, while at the same time investing to accelerate the energy transition. Electricity availability and fuels used to generate power air conditioners and heaters play a crucial role in our ability as a humankind to cope with extreme temperatures, said UNDP. Yet, the impact of climate change on energy use will vary locally as individuals, communities, and business adapt to conditions using available resources. The impact of climate change differs across sectors of the economy, with workers in high-risk, weather-exposed industries like agriculture, construction, mining, and manufacturing most affected, according to several studies. So we have plenty of keywords here: logical economic choice, empowering communities, and leveraging multi-stakeholder collaboration. How urban entrepreneurs or agricultural or professional entrepreneurs or use innovative solutions to tackle challenges triggered by rapid urbanization and drive the expansion of business ingenuity of smart cities. Fostering entrepreneurship and innovation for urban development is important and can inspire more business-led innovation for resilient and sustainable cities in the future. FinTech startup is making a difference in a slum by improving financial literacy, expanding financial inclusion, facilitating SMEs credit for its dwellers, and helping them access loans with lower interest rates. innovative partnership among entrepreneurs and others stakeholders, including universities, policymakers, and enterprise development centers, such as incubators and accelerators, are accelerating the rise of clusters. All this creation of green growth and green jobs, unlocking potential to access international green transition, Green New Deal investment funding. All this is potentially one of the most effective ways of upgrading domestic economy and of achieving sustainability agenda in relation to the SDGs in Mauritania, in Senegal, and throughout Africa. However, most enterprises in locally continue to face a number of challenges, which include inadequate knowledge of sustainability and lack of strategic planning, technological capacities, incentives to implement sustainability in their businesses. Our objective in Invest in Africa is to support SMEs to build their enterprises sustainability advantage through better understanding and adoption of environmental, social, and governance aspects of sustainability. Invest in Africa is the leading local content and capacity building, not-for-profit organization working together in Mauritania, in Senegal, in Ghana, in Kenya, and in other African countries to give local SMEs the best possible chance to benefit.
Hello, Boka? Hello?
Oh, yes, hello. It looks like I lost access. So I was just saying that the presentation that Charlotte will do will be followed by a Q&A session, and kindly feel free to suggest questions in the chat box. We cannot make any promises to answer all the questions, but we'll do our best to take the most of it. So excuse us in advance for that. So again, thank you for making yourself available. You are more than 50 people connected today. Charlotte, the floor is all yours.
All right, Baka, good morning.
Morning.
And morning, everybody. It's good. Are you able to hear me clearly? And are you able to see my
Not
screen?
Yet. Not yet.
Because I have shared. Then go quickly, please put it up for me because I have shared. I don't know why you don't see it. But are you able to hear me clearly?
I can hear very clearly.
Shared my screen. So for today, we'll be looking at ESG reporting and compliance. We'll be looking at focus for today. We'll be looking at what ESG frameworks are and which ones might be suitable for you as an SME to apply in your business and to use it to report, to communicate to your relevant stakeholders about your progress towards ESG. And also we will look at why it is becoming essential for ESG reporting right now in the business world. And then lastly, we will look at how to go about ESG reporting. So a little bit quick recap. That's my slideshow now.
No, we cannot see your screen, but I'm sharing mine. Charlotte? Charlotte?
So a little bit of, yes. So I've discussed the focus for today's work within this 1 hour. And so for a little bit of recap, what we all had a conversation about last week about the sustainability agenda, which is now a global call to move society towards sustainability. And it has moved from just being the responsibility of the United Nations and governments to businesses and also even to individuals. And so for the benefit of those who joined us today but couldn't join last week, when we talk about sustainability, we established that it's all about our ability as human society to exist and to meet our needs and thrive, live as we want to live fulfilledly and also indefinitely. And so in a way that all generations that will come after us will also be able to live and meet their human needs in a way that is dignified. And so to also ensure, and all that we're doing is that as we live as a human society and as human race, it is supposed to be within the natural cycles of the planet. And when you look at my, this diagram here, picture here, whereby you have the 3 circles, the planet, society, and the economy, that humanity will depend, in the society we depend on a healthy planet and a healthy economy. And what the economy in which we function as businesses does is that it's just a tool for us to meet our needs. So as we discussed about the 9 established human needs that we have as human beings, every business that is set up is meeting 1 or 2 or 3 or multiples of these needs. And if you're a business and you're not meeting any need for society or human, then eventually you go out of business because nobody will have a need of you. So as businesses, we operate within the economy to provide the needs that society needs. And it is our duty right now, looking at the way the world is going and the protocols and the regulations that have come in place to check how we live as society and operate and take resources of the environment for our businesses, to be able to do that within the regenerative ability of the natural environment. And so this is what sustainability is about. And then ESG is what, when you come into the business setting, we call sustainability. Some we used to call it corporate social responsibility. Some call it PPP, people, profit, and planet, right? So there are different sort of words that are used to actually stand for and to be synonymous to sustainability. And in our sense, we are using the ESG. So I'll quickly look at the 3 pillars of ESG. So what does it mean? What does the E represent? And when you talk about the E, what are some of the key aspects that you are supposed to consider as a business? And when it comes to the S and also the G. So the E in the ESG is about environmental. So this is about all the resources you take from the environment that feeds your business or your company as inputs, right? And then in terms of energy, in terms of water, in terms of everything that you get from the environment that feeds your business. There are some of us that probably with what we do, we render services, either services to the mining sector or the oil sector or the manufacturing sector. And so you're not into production, but however, you still take resources, be it energy, be it water, into your business to be able to run the daily operations of the business. So you're supposed to look at those aspects and hear, how do these things or resources we pick from the environment, how are their impacts on climate change? So we are looking at climate change, we are looking at encroachment, and in encroachment, we are looking at biodiversity loss. We are looking at water and energy efficiency, your carbon intensity, and general environmental management system. That is what the E aspect of ESG represents. And that is what stakeholders, when they demand for ESG reports, these are some of the things you are being required to actually report on and to demonstrate your progress. The social aspect is about relationship internally within the company, basically. So here you are looking at your employees, the freedom of association that they have, how the labor relations and diversity, and how inclusive is your team that you are working with. And then in the
Sorry, it looks like Charlotte, you are breaking. Sorry for that. She'll probably reconnect in a few moments. Sorry, Charlotte is breaking, so we're about to restart again. Sorry for inconvenience.
where do you start from? And so sometimes it becomes a lot of work and tedious and more like frustrating for SMEs to know where they even start from regards to their ESG reports and showing that they are complying. Because your ability to be able to demonstrate compliance and your progress is what will make you now be able to operate competitively now in the business world right now. And so to be able to do this and to make sure that you do it systematically in a way that is strategic, moving you towards it, there's something we call ESG framework. So it looks big, but the framework just means that there are a set of guidelines and principles that are actually there to guide you as a business or as a company to be able to set ESG commitments and priorities and then to be able to manage them. So that's what the framework means. It's a set of guidelines that will direct you and help you to be able to realize, okay, these are the important aspects, criteria in ESG that are relevant for my business, and set targets and commitment for them, and to be able to manage these commitments and measure progress, right? So these frameworks that are available for businesses and SMEs to choose from also helps you how to create a report in terms of the content of the ESG report you want to present, whether to do business or as a market linkage tool, or to get financial assistance from financial institution or any other relevant stakeholder that requests that you submit your ESG report. This kind of frameworks will help you how to create the report, the contents, and how to structure it, and how to disclose the progress you are making. And right now, there are so many of the frameworks available that you can choose from. And these frameworks are it's actually put together by different organizations. Some governments and countries, especially when you go to Europe, countries actually have ESG frameworks that they have developed that they expect the businesses to follow and to report accordingly. Some is by think tanks, some is by NGOs. So you have a lot of NGOs that have also come up with frameworks, ESG frameworks that you can adapt and be able to work with it. And so these are a lot of the examples that are available. And looking at these examples, you realize that you have the strategic framework is one of the main one out of the framework for strategic sustainable development, the FSSD. And then we have the framework for the business sustainability assessment tool is also there. You have the future fit benchmarks. So you have the one that B Corp. So B Corp is also available, and you have I think a lot of us have heard about GRI, the Global Reporting Initiatives. So these are all sustainability or ESG frameworks that an SME can pick and use it to guide your ESG compliance and reporting processes. It's important for me to mention that There are differences in these ESG reporting frameworks, okay? And so if you, depending the legal status of the reporting that is required of the industry you are in, or the type of company you operate and where you are now in Mauritania and Senegal, you then decide and reflectively and strategically choose the kind of framework that works for you and that meets the requirement of the stakeholder that requires from you. So why is these ESG frameworks important? They actually help you with the metrics you need to monitor. When we say metrics, meaning that the priority areas and focus. So in terms of energy, water, your emissions, your gender pay ratio, these are all metrics, meaning the indicators that are important that you select to be able to report on. The framework helps you to do that. It's also how you structure your report. So these frameworks also have tools and processes, how you should go about the measuring of data and reporting, and even also the team members that need to be part of the process. The frameworks really gives that. Some frameworks also set benchmarks for you. For example, in frameworks that are developed by government institutions, they have benchmarks. And so that's why maybe if you're in the mining sector or in the gas sector, there are certain things that there are restrictions and regulations that you can't go beyond or below those ones. So frameworks also said that. So how do you make the right decision to choose the framework that is good for your company as a business, and to choose the right one so that whatever purpose why you need to start preparing your ESG reporting, you achieve that. As I've already mentioned, some frameworks better suit certain company types and industry sectors than others, right? So for you want to also consider that that framework you're choosing is robust and is science-based, meaning that you are so sure that if you use that framework to go about your ESG journey or agenda, you are sure that it will help you to achieve your purpose for it. It must be adaptable for the business and the industry that you are. Some of these frameworks, usually they are generic, right? And some are actually, there are some frameworks that are actually designed for maybe businesses in the mining sector or in the manufacturing sector and giving priority areas. So you may want to consider that. And also you need to also consider what are the regulatory requirements in your sector, in your country. Or I choose the B Corp. It depends. You need to also put into consideration in Mauritania and also in Senegal, what are the government requirements regarding these ESG priorities before I select, and also relevant stakeholder expectations. You don't just prepare ESG progress report just to keep for fun. It's a business tool and it's for business communication. So you need to also factor in who the stakeholder is. If you are sending it to an investor, then the type of framework you would choose will be different from if you were sending it for a business, a market linkage to do business with, let's say, Keros, or to do business with Shell, or to do business with Tallow. So you need to also consider who is going to receive or whom are you trying to communicate with your ESG reports. And these will help you be able to choose the right framework that you should use for your company. And so for today, I'm going to highlight and talk a bit more about one of the frameworks. And I'm looking at the framework for strategic sustainable development. This framework was designed about 40 years ago, put together about 40 years ago by Swedish scientists. They were actually the ones who spearheaded it. And the organization that spearheaded it is called the Natural Step. Right. And it's been adopted by both large corporates and then SMEs across Europe and other parts of the world, including here in Africa. And there are evidence and research. So you find a framework for strategic sustainable development published in peer-reviewed journals which demonstrate the scientific robustness of this framework. And so if an SME decided to pick this framework to be the guide for your business, to be able to report and comply with your ESG requirements, you are sure that it will help you achieve your purpose. So this framework, as you see here, has 4 main aspects or guidelines that you go through as an SME. The first one, whereby you see the cycle with the sun and the animal there. I think I spoke about it 2 weeks ago, and also I talked about the spinal metaphor. the Sustainability Journal Challenge. Using the funnel metaphor to explain that right now society is in a state whereby the resources we need are actually declining. However, the demand for it is increasing. And so we are moving in a funnel whereby the walls of the funnel are narrowing in, and smart business will be able to find a way to navigate so that the funnel does not narrow down on them and they will not be, they'll be out of business. Today, I will look at the other tool, which has the 5-level guideline to ESG compliance. And what this framework teaches or helps the SME or the business to do is that it helps the systems level is asking you to reflect and look at the system in which you operate. So if you're operating in Mauritania and in Senegal, the political system, the environmental system, where we have the PESEL, you look at the stakeholder analysis and the sector you are in, what are all those requirements to be able to understand it? And also you're looking at the system, how your business fits into the natural environment, the resources you take from the natural environment, and how these resources are, their availability is, and how the kind of risk that can come with regards to the resources you will need from the environment to be able to do your work. Resources which you will need from society, the people you need, the kind of skills and specializations and expertise of labor you will need in your company. You look at all that system to be able to understand and to document and outline how these systems can help or be an impediment to you to achieve your vision as a business. Then you have the success level. The success level is what it's going to ask you. You look at what does success mean for us. Now, as an SME, as a business, we want to start our ESG journey and to become more sustainable and to achieve full sustainability. At what point will you say you have really achieved it and you have become successful? Right? And so at the success level, there's something you put in mind. We talked about the 4 sustainability principles, which is key in the framework for strategic sustainable development. So at the success level, you are looking at, you'll be successful if the way you run your business and what you depend on does not systematically subject nature by bringing too much of things and substance from the earth crust. So what kind of energy do you depend on? What kind of materials do you depend on to run your business for daily operations and strategic directions that you depend on to be able to run the business, and how much of it comes from the earth crust, its availability and scarcity? You need to analyze that. You have to also look at the second part, whereby the substances that are produced by society that you depend on, how
Right. It looks like Charlotte is breaking. So we shall get back in a few moments. Thanks for your understanding again. Yes, hello. It's still breaking. So allow us a few moments for her to get back. Thanks for your understanding. Again, sorry, she's connecting back due to internet access. Sorry for inconvenience. Sorry for that. We are trying to reconnecting her, so thanks for your patience. Désolé, il y a eu sorry, there were an internet issue with Charlotte. She's trying to get back. So as soon as she get back, we'll be able to proceed. Thanks for your understanding and sorry for inconvenience. Sorry for inconvenience. She's just trying to reconnect due to internet breakdown. She's currently in Ghana, so that's the reason why. Sorry again for that, but soon should be able to get back. Thanks for your understanding again. we're gonna share with you right after this webinar the presentation and all the current material. So it won't be an inconvenience for you. But in the meantime, we're just waiting for her to reconnect back. It takes longer than expected, but we are handling this issue. Again, thank you for your understanding. It looks like she's back. Very good news. So be able to proceed the presentation. Process the presentation. Charlotte, you are back. The floor is yours. Yeah. Yes, we can hear you. Right. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Apologies, please, everyone. Sorry about the network. Yeah. So so we're talking about the success parts, whereby it's important to be able to tell what success means for your company in terms of ESG. And it's important that if you are using the framework for strategic sustainable development, you look at success from the perspective of the 4 sustainability principles to ensure that every activity you undertaking is not leading to physical degradation of the environment irresponsibly. You are taking into account resources that requires that you take it from underground. How efficiently you're using those resources. You are demonstrating that there aren't alternatives in the surface that you can use, but to use those underground. And also the chemicals that you are using, you make sure that you will opt for options of chemicals that are friendly to the environment. And then you look at the people you work with, the stakeholders you have, both clients and your internal customers, which are your employees. The barriers that prevent them from meeting their needs are all taken away so that they can meet their own needs as workers and employees that you have in your company. Okay. And so looking at the strategic part, you see the 5-level framework, the third level is the strategic part. How do you go about this journey? Do you just get up and say, okay, today I'm going to look at energy, I'm going to look at water, I'm going to look at salary, I'm going to look at gender? How do you do this? It's important that you're strategic about, and being strategic just means that you set your vision. And so the framework has an aspect where you call the ABCD strategic planning process. So here, bearing in mind the sustainability principles, which you will use as the conditions within which you can operate innovatively and creatively to be able to achieve your vision or whatever vision you have. You will have to then, from that vision you have for ESG and building a sustainable business, there's something we call backcasts. You come back to presently, how do we do things? How do we operate? How do we run? What are our different stakeholders? What are the expectations of us? And then you look at from the vision you hope to have and to be able to achieve and your present or current situation. You find out what are those gaps. And that is why you undertake something we call the B step. The A step is the vision and awareness session. The B step is whereby you have to do an assessment of currently where you are as an organization, the baseline analysis to identify gaps. So when you see the ESG gaps you have or the sustainability gaps you have compared to the vision you have set for yourself, you look at the C steps, you realize that there are these red circles here. And it's like, you move on. These steps are the actions and solutions that you and your team, this is not done alone, it's done by a team. You and the team that is co-creating this come up with creative solutions and actions that you believe are a step in the right direction to move you to achieve the vision. Mind you, in the C step, whereby you're coming all the different things and activities and measures and procedures and processes you can put in place for you to be able to demonstrate to your stakeholders, relevant stakeholders, that you are being ESG compliant. It will be so many of them. So after the C step, whereby you have brainstormed all the actions you can take, the D step now is you have to decide on priorities. There'll be about 100 of actions you'll be able to create together as a team. But then also you realize that not all those actions are able to give you the same results. So the next task you run is decide on what are the priorities. And deciding what the priorities are, there are some 3 strategic questions, basic strategic questions you have to ask. The actions we have listed, is it a step in the right direction? What is the return on investment it brings back to the company if we undertake this action? Would this action serve as a stepping stone for more actions to be taken so that we can achieve more as a company and move ahead towards achieving our ESGs? These are basic strategic questions you will use to be able to decide on the priority of the actions you will select after the C step. And I want to also add this, in organizations that we have supported to go through this planning processes, it's not only the 3 strategic questions that are used to be able to decide on the actions. The organizations also look at their own, relevant indicators that they factor in decision making. And then they use that one to also add on to the 3 strategic actions already. And then they'll be able to prioritize and assess each action based on those ones. So if you go through those processes and using the framework for strategic sustainable development, there are some key aspects of the ESG compliance that it will guide you that you need to look at. So you'll be looking at energy, water, procurement in terms of material choices you procure and the companies you select to do business with. Employees, you'll be looking at wages, health and their well-being. That's where health and safety comes in. Employment terms, the terms, if you have women, the maternity terms that you have there for women to support them to be inclusive, discrimination, you look at it. In terms of the society and governance, you'll be looking at what are your systems in place in terms of bribery, gifts, disclosure, employee concerns, how are they addressed, ethical issues, how you lobby, taxes, investments, how the systems in place, your HR, all of it, you have to look at it. And a key aspect of our environment you also look at, which is towards climate, is the greenhouse gas emissions, both carbon emissions and non-carbon emissions, waste and how it's managed and how you generate waste and how you manage encroachment. We are looking at biodiversity. Africa is suffering now with biodiversity loss. And so now stakeholders are interested that if you were developing an ESG report, you need to be able to demonstrate how your work or your operation is not affecting biodiversity. And if it's must, what measures you have in place to make sure that it is managed in a way that the natural cycle will be able to handle it. So these are things you want to look at in terms of compliance and reporting for your ESG. So in the B step, as I mentioned, about doing the baseline assessment, there's this tool which you can Google. It's called the Basic Sustainability Assessment Tool. It's part of the FSSD, the Framework for Strategic
You are breaking a little bit.
Design.
We cannot understand what you are saying.
Hello, Wakao.
You are still breaking.
So basically, yeah. And so in getting to conclusion, the few things that you need to look why it's becoming essential, which I'm sure some of you may be experienced, even though now ESG requirements are not mandatory, but it looks like we are moving there. And very soon,
we cannot hear you.
Governments and nations will be requiring that as a requirement for all banks to be able to demand that before they give any financial support to anybody. It's becoming a global agenda, and it's also a risk management tool for business sustainability. It helps you also demonstrate your own transparency to the businesses that you deal with and work for. So this is what I would like to share with you. In terms of now and next steps, what should you do about your ESG reporting? As we mentioned, start creating awareness in your business. You can use the Framework for Strategic Development to guide you to set your ESG goals and develop an ESG policy. It's important you will have to perform a baseline assessment to identify your own ESG gaps. Then you create a solution, innovative solutions, how you can address these gaps. Decide on priorities actions. So those solutions, which one would you want to prioritize and then implement these action plan? It's important that you measure. There's a saying that what you can measure, you can improve. It is important you measure, monitor, and document the progress that you make on your ESG journey. Definitely sure if you expect support, you'll be needed depending on the level that you need this ESG report and the purpose. get in touch with IIA Mauritania and IIA Senegal, and they'll be able to support you to get the needed expert support to be able to put together your ESG reports. And so in my final conclusions, the framework for strategic sustainable development is an easy tool, and it will help you and guide you through your ESG journey. You want to take it up as a business, not that you want to, it is a smart business, you want to take it up and do that. It will guide you in your compliance and reporting. And there's something I want to say, it shouldn't be something that is just mandatory, that you feel I have to do it. When you're able to take it, it helps build trust even among your employees and in the organization that you work for and your stakeholders. And so you might want to use it as a tool that is helping you to strengthen your own internal systems to be able to demonstrate to external stakeholders that you are the right person for them to support you with investment, or you are the right business for them to give you that contract to be able to deliver, because you have strengthened systems in your governance systems, in how you handle social matters in your businesses and your employees, and you're also environmentally responsible. So yes, thank you so much for your time and for tuning in, and I hope that this has been learningful for you. You can get in touch with IIA for any further support. Thank you, and if there are any further questions. Bokar, thank you, and over to you.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte, for your time. We are very sorry for we are deeply sorry for the inconvenience of breaking, but this is how it is, and we are facing some issues like that. Charlotte, can you provide us with some operational examples of companies that were looking after the ESG and how this is becoming a potentiality for their business to increase? Can you share with us some testimonials of the companies you were supporting and in this very critical journey?
Hello?
Yes, Charlotte, can you hear me?
I can hear you better now.
Okay, so I was saying, were you able to share with us, some examples of the companies you are supporting in this ESG journey and how this becoming a huge opportunity for their business to increase? Charlotte, sorry, can you ensure you hear me? So it looks like we are losing Charlotte again. It's very annoying. So as a conclusion, we are facing some global warming, climate change. So it looks like there are plenty of opportunities for ESG. Charlotte, are you back?
Yeah, hello, Bokar.
Yes, are you back?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
Did you hear? Did you hear my question?
Yeah, you said that I should. I think the question is not. I didn't hear the question well. So I sent it. Yeah, I didn't hear the question well. Please check your message. I sent you a message. So.
Okay, so okay, Charlotte, we're gonna stop there because it's quite annoying. We cannot hear each other very clear. So we're gonna share with you the materials of this webinar. Sorry again for the issues with the internet. We are more than open to give you any more information should you need any clarification. We are here for that. We are here for increasing local capacity and local capability. Charlotte, she's a well experienced consultant in these areas. We are facing, as I was saying earlier, a lot of challenges: the climate change, the global warming. All these things leads to economical opportunities for local companies, as long as you stick to what is ESG and the opportunities linked to ESG. So it's up to local SMEs and to local communities, our African countries, to make a shift toward more environmentally, social, and governance, to bring a sustainable economic growth in our African countries. So thank you again for your time. You were more than 50 people connected. So again, it's a very good metric, and please feel free to get back to us. You have our contact details. So should you have any questions linked to this series of conferences, feel free to get back to you. Again, thank you very much for your time. Deeply sorry for the inconvenience of the internet failures, internet breaking. It's out of our responsibility, but we assume that, and we hope to see you very soon in our next series of events that we're gonna deliver both jointly in Mauritania and in Senegal. Thank you for your time. All the best. Wish you all the best, and see you very, very soon. Take care.